Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez are apparently in talks for a rematch in 2026, and my only question is why? Why? Outside of a massive payday, the first fight wasn't necessarily a competitive fight, and if they do it again, I think it's going to be less competitive. I don't think this is going to go very well. For one,
Canelo Alvarez, even after being dismantled in September, is refusing to accept reality. He has been vocal and stubborn that he wants Terence Crawford again, convinced that a healthy arm changes history. But the experts are screaming for him to stop. From Eddie Hearn to Antonio Margarito, the warning is clear. Canelo is shot and physically incapable of chasing Crawford down. This isn't just a risky rematch, it's a suicide mission. And if Canelo steps back into that ring, he might be walking into the end of his career.
Well, it looks like it's the end of an era. Canelo Alvarez spoke about his retirement plans and has confirmed that the end is near and that his time inside the ring is coming to an end relatively soon. Canelo Alvarez said that he is now in the stage wherein he's also thinking a lot about how he wants to focus as well as enjoy the fruits of his labor, not just for himself but for his family as well. The Mexican fighter who made his professional boxing debut at the age of 15 years old and has been professionally fighting for almost 20 years now said the following, and I quote, "From the age of 28 to 29, this is the age where I have felt best. I've always said that at 37 years old is a good age to enjoy what I have done with my family, other things in my career, and that's what I say. But I said I would debut at 18 and I did it at 15. End of quote. Now,
the most shocking reality check comes from someone inside Canelo's own circle of influence, promoter Eddie Hearn. While promoters usually hype up any fight that makes money, Hearn has been surprisingly candid about why this specific matchup is a disaster for the Mexican superstar. Hearn recently exposed a hard truth that Canelo's camp has tried to keep quiet. They knew this style was a nightmare for them years ago. According to Hearn, Canelo isn't just dealing with a better boxer, he's dealing with his stylistic kryptonite. Hearn revealed that Canelo's team was well aware that Crawford's lateral movement and switch-hitting ability would neutralize Canelo's power. It wasn't a bad night, it was a bad matchup. Hearn hinted that Canelo's refusal to accept this biological reality, that his feet can no longer keep up with his eyes, is blinding him to the danger waiting for him in the rematch.
I believe they have a rematch clause. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of wording because Canelo doesn't enter a fight without some kind of wording in terms of a rematch clause. But he's just not going to beat Terence Crawford. It's the style's all wrong for him, the movement's all wrong for him. And that's what I said. You know, going into the fight, I really believed Crawford would win in the style that he did. And then just as it got a bit closer at the weigh-in, I was like, my heart was like, no, Canelo's got this, you know. And but deep down, I kind of knew that it was all wrong for him. And to be honest with you, Canelo knew it was all wrong for him. You know, I had the conversation with Canelo Alvarez probably, I don't know, a year ago, about Terence Crawford. And he was like, no, why would I fight Terence Crawford? Like, you know, he hates that style. And when he fought Charlo, I remember him being really disappointed that Charlo just moved and moved and moved. And that's why he ended up fighting Munguia and Berlanga, because they're guys that wouldn't do that and they'd stand in front of him. And that suits him down to the ground. Anyone that's got movement like Skull, like Crawford, like, you know, he really struggles against. And when he was a bit younger and fresher, he could probably get away with it and cut it off. And, you know, but then you see guys like Bivol and, you know, Crawford and these guys beat him because of that movement. And I don't know what he does again. I mean, you know, the biggest money fight out there for him is the rematch with Crawford.
This leads directly to the physical decline that analysts are now openly discussing. The narrative coming out of Sports Illustrated and Fan Nation isn't just that Canelo lost, it's that he was food for Crawford. The brutal assessment focuses on Canelo's knees. After nearly 2 decades of professional fighting, the lack of knee cartilage has turned Canelo into a flat-footed stalker. In his prime, he could cut off the ring with explosive pressure, but against Crawford in late 2025, he looked like he was fighting in mud. The experts are warning that you cannot fix worn-out joints with a training camp. Crawford, who moves like a track star, spent the entire first fight dog-walking Canelo around the ring, making the bigger man miss and pay. The consensus is terrifyingly simple. Canelo physically cannot move fast enough to land the one punch he needs to win.
I mean, Is it dangerous to Canelo's legacy to lose to the best of this era and the best of the era previously? I don't know. Like, did Canelo ever have an era where he was the best in the world? Maybe that's the question he's still trying to answer himself, and why he would want this rematch with Crawford. But when I see this news coming out of him wanting the rematch, having the elbow surgery, maybe in his mind going, okay, my elbow wasn't fresh, I wasn't able to turn my shots over, so that's why I can win this rematch. I like the competitive nature of it. I don't like the fight for him. I think the matchup's all wrong for Canelo. I think this style of fight, in terms of what Terence Crawford does well, is counterpunching off the front and back foot, his ability to go from range with his jab, be inside with it too, protect himself, catch counter with punches. He's got just a different timing than Canelo really has on his punches, and then you pair it with the volume that Terence Crawford can throw, and his feet and his angles. This is the bad matchup for Canelo. We've seen it already, and I just don't know if the rematch goes any differently. I think Terence Crawford would have Canelo in real trouble the second time around. And again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, he'd knock him out cold, because Canelo's got an iron chin, but if he didn't already in the first fight, he would do a number. Texas Instruments 83 plus on Canelo if they rematch. I truly believe that, because I think the matchup's all wrong. I think that both guys learned something about the other in that fight, and the guy that took more away as far as data and things to use was Terence Crawford, because what Canelo brought was the best version of him, and it wasn't enough. And if Terence brought the best version of him and it was enough, because I think both guys brought their best version, but the fight played out how the styles will always match up. Canelo is best when a guy will stand in front of him and go upper body movement, planted feet, let's fight exclusively in the phone book. Terence Crawford is at his best when he can dog walk someone, walk the dog on them literally, have them on a leash, walking around the ring, and then planting his feet, throwing, circling, feinting off the back foot, then coming back, counter punches. He has every tool in the shed. And I think skill-wise and stylistically, Canelo.
If the physical limitations weren't enough, former champion Antonio Margarito has come out with a prediction that should send shivers down Canelo's spine. Margarito, who knows a thing or two about brutal wars, believes the second fight will be significantly easier for Crawford. The logic here is what insiders call the solved puzzle theory. In boxing, once a master technician like Crawford downloads the data on an opponent, they never struggle with them again. Margarito argued that Crawford has already figured out Canelo's timing, his feints, and his power. There are no surprises left. Margarito warned that since Canelo cannot completely reinvent his fighting style at this stage of his career, he is essentially walking into a slaughter where Crawford knows every move he's going to make before he even twitches a muscle.
¿Qué me dice de la gran pérdida que tuvo México ahorita ante Terence Crawford en parte de Canelo? Una pérdida muy dura para el boxeo mexicano, pero ¿qué piensa usted de eso? ¿Qué pasó ahí esa noche?
Sí, mira, realmente yo siempre lo he dicho, ¿no? Realmente, mira, yo siempre lo dije que Canelo pues aprendió mucho, y la verdad digo mis respetos, ¿no? Pero creo yo sinceramente pues que Canelo realmente pues escogían rivales para poder que se viera ganador él. Yo sé que arriba del ring no sabemos qué pueda pasar, ¿no? Pero realmente yo creo que no peleó con los mejores para mí, ¿no? Y realmente yo creo que Crawford pues tenía el estilo para ganarle, y sinceramente me han preguntado, y yo pienso realmente que en una revancha le gana más fácil Crawford a Canelo. Digo, desgraciadamente pues es mexicano, ¿no? Y haz de cuenta, a veces pues tengo problemas con los mexicanos, pero realmente yo es lo que yo pienso, ¿no? del boxeo de Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo is a good fighter, and he learned a lot. I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but I knew Crawford was going to win, and I was going for the Mexican because I'm Mexican, of course, but Canelo used to choose his fighters, but this time he couldn't do that.
In the rematch, he thinks Crawford can beat him easier, huh?
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier for Crawford to beat him.
Yeah.
However, the warnings aren't just technical. They are becoming dangerously personal. The tension between the two camps has hit a boiling point, specifically coming from Crawford's head trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre. Bomac isn't just advising Canelo to stay away, he's issuing threats. Following the first fight, Bomac was caught on video screaming, "Forward all that shut! If you cross the line again..."
You know, I felt like I was in control. You know, I think he was trying to figure me out.
Did you feel that you were frustrating him? He tried to lift you up, he headbutted you. Were you sensing?
This hostility stems from the perceived lack of respect shown to Crawford before and after the bell. Crawford's team feels that Canelo tried to big boy them during negotiations and is now trying to discredit the loss. When a trainer like Bomac gets this personal, the game plan shifts from winning to punishing. The warning here is clear. Crawford won't just be looking to outbox Canelo in a rematch, he'll be looking to hurt him to make a statement to his corner.
You know, there was this big blow up thing, like I was scared of him. And that's why I was like, man, I ain't scared of shit. You know what I mean?
Big blow up thing.
Yeah, because he was just like, you know what I mean? He said he didn't say it, you know, but they was saying in the
Took
back
that personal.
that yeah, like I'm scared of him. I'm like, scared of you? Like, me? Oh man. So I'm like, when this bell ring, I'm coming right at him. Coming right at him. You know, and just let him know that I'm gonna be here all night. I ain't going nowhere.
Talk me to the fight.
So, you know.
Despite all this, Canelo is clinging to a specific excuse to justify the rematch: his elbow. In the aftermath of the defeat, reports surfaced that Canelo required surgery in late 2025 and that an injury hindered his performance. He believes a healthy arm changes history, but the Ring magazine and other top analysts have shut this down immediately. They argue that a healthy arm doesn't fix slow feet. The WADE concept analysis pointed out that Canelo was flat out outboxed, not out-muscled. He couldn't find the target because he couldn't get in range, not because he couldn't throw. By focusing on the injury, Canelo is falling into the classic fighter's delusion, believing that a minor physical tweak can overcome a massive skill gap. It's a dangerous lie to tell yourself when you're signing a contract to fight the pound-for-pound king.
Like I said, the Ring magazine reporting as of about 4 days ago now, I'm a little late to the news, but Canelo Alvarez wants Terence Crawford rematch, says negotiations are underway for 2026. Now, first off, I expect nothing less from Canelo. He wants to get that fight back because, well, number one, it's a somewhat advantageous matchup at 168 for him, and there's not many other matchups at 168 for Canelo right now that offer him any sort of advantages. Imagine you try to put him in there with the Hamza Shiraz or someone with a bigger frame, longer, taller. I mean, even David Benavidez, before he went and knocked out and absolutely smoked Anthony Yard, was saying, you know, I'm still entertaining the potential of a Canelo fight. There's not many other people at 168. I mean, maybe if you did Chris Eubank Jr., but after he loses to Conor Benn, what does that fight really even mean? Canelo says, I want my run back. I want my get back, but I gotta be honest, I don't know how this goes well for Canelo in a rematch. Honestly, you look at the first fight, and the things that plagued Canelo were essentially the things that plague him against most boxers. His flat feet, his lack of movement, his lack of volume. He couldn't get to Terence. He was overextending. He was getting caught with counter shots as he overextended. The big shown around, memed, and replayed moment of the fight is Canelo trying to throw a hook and a right hand, and Terence Crawford slipping on the outside and banging the left-hand counter behind it. Canelo was beaten to the punch from distance. He was beaten in exchanges, and even in points in the fight, he was beaten inside by...
What makes this delusion even more risky is Crawford's current mental state. Terence Crawford is furious. Instead of receiving universal praise for moving up 2 weight classes and dismantling the face of boxing, he's hearing excuses. He's hearing that Canelo was washed, old, or injured. In recent interviews with Fight Hub TV, Crawford snapped back at these narratives, clearly agitated that his greatness is being diminished. He explicitly stated that he is stronger than Canelo, and that the size difference was a myth. A motivated, angry Crawford who feels his legacy is being disrespected is the most dangerous version of the fighter. He wants to prove that the first win wasn't a fluke or a result of Canelo's age, which means he might take unnecessary risks to chase a knockout in the rematch just to silence the critics.
To be honest, when I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me, you know? But for me, I knew I could do it, and I believed that I could do it. I just needed the opportunity.
Terence, when did you know that you were going to beat him? Over here on your left.
When he signed the contract.
He seemed to focus mostly on body punches, and you were hitting him in the head a lot. Was it your reach that gave you the advantage?
It was everything. You know, he wasn't hitting the body or anything. He was hitting my elbow because I was blocking it. But, you know, I think I was the better man tonight.
What was that moment where you were pushed aside by the ring and they suspended they called the timeout for a second and then started the fight again in the middle? I think it was the seventh inning.
Well, I got headbutted. I got cut. I got to go get stitches. You didn't see it?
No.
Oh, yeah. He headbutted me. So I got to go get stitches.
Ultimately, the boxing world is watching a legend potentially make the biggest mistake of his life. The money on the table for a 2026 rematch is undeniable, likely shattering revenue records. But the cost to Canelo's legacy could be irreparable. The pros have laid it out clearly. The style matchup is impossible. The physical decline is irreversible, and the opponent is only getting smarter. Canelo Alvarez has spent his career defying the odds, but this time, the odds aren't just against him. They are impossible. The question fans have to ask themselves is whether they are watching a brave warrior seeking redemption or a stubborn king being led to the guillotine for one last massive paycheck. YouTuber Showbiz recently shared his opinion on the rematch.
We all know Terence Crawford whooped that man's ass 11 rounds to 1 in reality, all right? But if you count, punches, landed or copied by, statistically, technically, it was a closer fight, okay? Now, Saul Canelo Alvarez also, last time you saw him, he's, nursing and recovering from an elbow surgery, which he had an elbow injury going into the fight. So, you start thinking about stuff like that. I'm talking about if you Canelo, why would you say, let's go ahead with the rematch. I think I got a shot. All right. Being a competitor for one. All right. And number two, the fight was closer technically than you thought because you were in there. And in there, you felt like you were getting your ass whipped. And number three, you went in there nursing an elbow injury. So it's like, I think I may have a chance if I'm 100% healthy, all right? He feels the same way about Bivol because he had a wrist injury going into the Bivol fight. So it's just, you think about all those things.
Boxing trainer Robert Garcia also thinks a rematch is great for not just Canelo, but also the fans.
He needs to make a change, I think. I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.